What if I told you there's a cosmic library containing every soul's history, and you can access it yourself? Right now, somewhere in higher dimensions, there exists a vast energetic space that holds the imprints of every soul, not just from Earth, but from across the galaxy, possibly the entire universe. This is the Akashic Records library, and today I'm going to share with you exactly how I access it, what I've discovered about my own soul's journey, and how you can begin your own sovereign exploration of this sacred space. Because everyone has the potential to access the Akashic Records. It's not a gift reserved for a select few. It's about frequency, intention, and alignment. But first, let me be completely transparent about why I'm sharing this with you. This video isn't about promoting services or encouraging you to book readings with anyone. My intention is pure, to share my personal insights and experiences, and to offer a pathway for those souls who are seeking to become more sovereign in their spiritual journey. This is not a formula or a guarantee, and I'm not offering myself as a teacher or instructor. I believe everyone must find their own way of connecting. But if you feel called, if you've reached a place in your journey where your level of awareness and vibration is aligned with that sacred space, then maybe some of my suggestions will resonate or inspire you to try your own approach. The truth is, professional readings can be expensive. You often get just a few questions answered, sometimes without the depth or clarity you need to truly understand the messages. This can leave you feeling confused or dependent on others to continue your search for answers. That's not what the Akashic Records are about. They're here as a tool for soul empowerment, self-illumination, and inner remembrance. So, what are the Akashic Records? The Akashic Records library, from my perspective, is not just a poetic metaphor. It's a very real, vast, energetic space residing in higher dimensions. Some say there may be different libraries for each galaxy, or perhaps it's all one unified field accessed through different frequencies. I'm still exploring this myself, especially how quantum physics intersects with this cosmic structure and what we call reality. But here's what's crucial to understand. There's a natural order and integrity built into this system. You can't just go peeking into someone else's soul history out of curiosity or ego. There are gatekeepers, beings and guides who oversee access, ensuring that whoever requests information has sincere, respectful intentions, and often, consent from the soul whose records are being accessed. Accessing the records isn't like reading a book where words are laid out in paragraphs. It's more like receiving a download, a transmission of energy, symbols, emotions, and visions. It speaks in a universal, multidimensional language that you interpret based on your own level of consciousness and frame of reference. This is why inner growth and awareness are so important. Without context or openness to broader realities, some information may not come through or be misunderstood. For example, if someone doesn't believe in life beyond Earth, information about incarnations in other star systems may be dismissed or remain hidden. The records respond to your beliefs, readiness, and vibrational state. The more you expand, the more you can receive. Here is my personal journey. I've always felt a deep pull toward the Akashic Records. Even before I fully understood what they were, something in me was drawn to the idea of remembering, of uncovering hidden layers of truth and soul history. 4 years, I searched for the right moment and teacher, but nothing aligned. Until about 5 years ago. That's when everything fell into place, as if the universe finally gave a clear green light. It wasn't forced. It was perfect timing with the right guide who could support me on that path. I felt I needed a teacher, not because the records can only be taught externally, but because I wanted to approach them with respect and structure. I wanted to do it the right way with guidance from someone who already understood the terrain. Then something truly profound happened. Through reading my own records, I discovered that my soul is actually a gatekeeper of the Akashic Records library. That realization gave me clarity. It explained why I've always felt compelled to seek knowledge, to remember beyond the veil, and to help others do the same. What I've discovered through this journey is extraordinary. I've accessed information about my past lives, not only on this planet in this reality, but other life forms, genders, roles, missions, other realities and dimensions. I've experienced that feeling of void, the sensations of being in different life forms. I've gotten insights into my soulmate's energy signature, talents from past lives that I can actually feel, downloaded information on metaphysics, and had direct conversations with my Akashic Records guides or other light beings. Each time I access the records, whether for myself or when guided to read for others, it's never just about gathering information. It's a journey of expansion. I witness how vast this universe really is, how interconnected everything is across time, dimensions, and soul expressions. Every reading shifts me. Every glimpse opens me to new levels of consciousness. And yet, I'm constantly reminded of how much more there is. What I receive, even in those powerful moments, is just a fraction of the library's infinite wisdom. Approaching the Akashic Records requires deep respect, reverence, and a sincere heart. This isn't just another tool for spiritual curiosity. It's a sacred space, an energetic temple of universal wisdom. Ethics and morality aren't optional. They're essential. If your intentions are misaligned, driven by ego, control, or manipulation, you will likely be denied access. There are guardians, intelligent consciousnesses, and protective frequencies that ensure only those with pure intent and readiness can enter. The Akashic realm resides in a much higher vibrational plane, often associated with the 8th dimension, or what some traditions call the heavenly realms. Unfortunately, there are those who seek access for darker reasons. But the truth is, those operating from low vibes, disconnected from love and truth, simply can't reach the true dimension of the Akashic Records. They may access distorted versions or lower astral imprints that mimic truth but aren't aligned with the purity of the original field. This is something to be mindful of when choosing someone to read your records. If a person carries arrogance, lacks integrity, or shows signs of using spiritual knowledge for control or ego validation, trust your inner guidance. In my experience, the deeper I've walked this path, the more I've realized that access isn't just about knowledge, it's about relationship. A relationship with divine intelligence, with your own soul, and with the living library of the universe. The more reverence I bring, the more I'm met with grace. So how do I personally access the Akashic Records library? The most important part is trust. If you approach this experience with doubt or fear, it may limit what you're able to receive. Whatever comes to you, images, feelings, words, symbols, trust that it's real. Trust that your soul knows how to speak with you. In the beginning, it's okay to start small. The more you practice, the more fluent you become in this inner language. It's important to create a protocol or mini ritual, not out of superstition, but out of respect and energetic clarity. Some say if you're fully in a 5D state, you don't need protection or preparation. But let's be honest, how many of us are anchored in that frequency all the time? And if you were truly living constantly in 5D, would you even be watching this video? Here's my preparation process. First, I set the space, just as I would before a meditation. Everyone has their own way of getting into alignment, so feel free to adjust this to your liking. I make sure I'm comfortable and free from distractions. I silence my phone, dim the lights, and sometimes play gentle music or binaural beats to shift brainwaves into a meditative state. I keep a few crystals nearby, selenite to connect with my guides, black tourmaline for protection, sometimes opal to open the heart and mind. Lighting a candle adds a sacred touch, but it's optional. I might do light stretching or breathing to help energy flow, especially after a stressful day. A short heart-opening meditation helps me raise my vibration and shift into a receptive, grounded state. Then, when I feel centered, I use a simple invocation. It doesn't need to be complex. Something simple like, I am ready and open to receive higher knowledge and divine truth. I come with neutrality and sincerity, and I ask to be guided by the beings of light who oversee the Akashic Records. May this experience be for my highest good and the good of all. I visualize myself surrounded by protective golden or white light. I call in my spirit guides and Akashic Records keepers, inviting them to walk with me through this sacred work. If I'm reading my own records, I already have my full name, date, and place of birth, all that's needed to energetically locate my records. Sometimes, when reading for others, I'll use a form to collect this information, but for self-readings, you already hold the key. I visualize the library itself. In my mind, it appears as a magnificent temple in the 8th dimension. Opalescent stairs, crystalline floors, an open ceiling revealing the vastness of the cosmos. Of course, this is just my vision. You can imagine it however feels right to you. As I step into this sacred space, my guides appear, sometimes new beings. I've seen human-like guides, but also a great white lion and a beloved spirit dog who accompanies me often. If you don't see anyone at first, don't panic. You can invite them through visualization. Your connection will deepen with time. When I feel calm and aligned, I state my full name, date, and place of birth to energetically locate my records. I prepare questions in advance, though the guides already know them before I speak. I often see them welcoming me the moment I shift into the space. Sometimes, before I begin, I use a pendulum to confirm whether I currently have access to the records and whether I'm fully attuned to the Akashic Library. The pendulum is simply a tool, a bridge between subtle energies and conscious awareness. You may use other tools, or none at all. Intuition alone is often more than enough. When I feel the energetic alignment, I declare aloud, the Akashic Records are now open. This simple statement creates a shift in consciousness. It marks the moment I energetically step into the vibrational field of the records. I always begin by asking for permission to access my own records. In my case, that permission is consistently granted by my guides. But when reading on behalf of someone else, it's essential to know that access isn't guaranteed. Sometimes the records remain closed, especially if the timing isn't right or if consent isn't clear. Once permission is granted, I begin asking questions. I let the answers come in whatever form they choose. There's no single way the records speak. For me, the responses often arrive as visions, sentences, symbols, and downloads of understanding. This aligns with my developed clairvoyance. But others may receive guidance through different intuitive pathways. If you are clairaudient, you may hear a voice or words. If you are clairsentient, you might feel sensations or emotions. If you are claircognizant, a knowing may simply rise within you without explanation. These are all valid expressions of Akashic communication. As you enter the Akashic Records, you might start to notice subtle yet distinct shifts in your energy. There may be a gentle change in your awareness, a sense of stillness or heightened presence. You might begin to see images, symbols, or colors appearing in your mind's eye. Your third eye becoming more active. Sometimes, a sudden inner knowing arises. A clear insight that feels undeniably true. You could also feel it physically. Perhaps a bit of pressure in your head, a tingling in your body, or a warm stirring in your heart center. There may be a deep emotional resonance with the information you're receiving, like your soul recognizes it even before your mind does. And occasionally, as your third eye opens, you might even experience a little discomfort or aching in that area. This is completely normal. Sometimes words or phrases come through as if whispered by wisdom itself, rising from deep within, uninvited but perfectly timed. All of these are gentle confirmations that you've entered the Akashic field. When nothing comes through. If you're not receiving anything clearly, don't worry. It happens to all of us. Sometimes the question itself needs to be reframed. Ask for clarification. Try rewording your inquiry or take a moment to reconnect with your intention. Often, it's not that the records are silent. It's that the frame of reference needed to understand the response isn't yet available. In those cases, you can simply ask, "Am I allowed to know this at this moment?" Trust the process. The records always respond in alignment with what serves your soul's highest good. I use various journaling techniques. I have a phone recorder, and I use transcription software if I want to add everything to a Word document later, or I keep big paper and pen nearby to write important points with closed eyes, because many times I forget the information. If I forget, I go back and ask again. At the end of the session I state, "The Akashic Records are now closed." I give thanks to the guides, and to all energies that supported this session. May this knowledge integrate gently and serve my highest path. The most common mistake beginners make is expecting too much too soon. You don't feel anything, you don't trust yourself. You want a lot from the beginning instead of starting with small steps and being patient. You simply have too many expectations. In an Akashic Records reading session, you can ask some of the most profound and meaningful questions about your soul's journey. For example, You can ask about your origins. Where did you first incarnate? What was the first life form your soul experienced? Was it in a specific galaxy or constellation? You might want to know who you were in a past life, or what kind of talents and abilities you developed in those lifetimes that could be refined and used in this one. You can also ask to receive a vision of your galactic family or your spirit guide, or gain clarity on what your soul's purpose is right now, in this moment, in this incarnation. Many people also want to know how many times they've incarnated on Earth, or whether people they know in this life were part of their soul family in another one. If you're seeking healing or understanding of your personal history, you can even ask to access blocked childhood memories. Just say what you want to remember, and allow the images or sensations to come. In the now moment, you can ask more practical or emotional questions like, what can I do to release my trauma around this situation? Or what does my body need right now to heal? You can also inquire about health, like which minerals or vitamins might be missing in your system. I often use pendulum charts to receive answers like this. When it comes to relationships, you can ask about the type of connection you have with someone. Is it karmic? Is it a soulmate? Part of your soul group? Is it temporary or here for the long haul? You can even ask about the trajectory of your life, whether you're currently aligned with your highest possible timeline. You might ask, is this the right job for me to reach my full potential? Or is this relationship safe and supportive for my growth? Or when you're experiencing physical symptoms, you can ask something like, are these headaches part of an ascension process? Or is there something else I need to address with a holistic healthcare provider? When asking questions, try to start simple. If you receive a symbol, an image, or even a sensation, don't be afraid to ask what it means. Sit in silence and wait. See what appears, hear what is said, or simply know what comes through. If nothing comes at first, that's okay. Ask the question again, or shift your question slightly. If you don't receive an answer right away, it could also mean you're not ready for it yet. Especially when it comes to traumatic memories. Sometimes your mind or your nervous system isn't in a place to handle that information just yet. So don't force it. Be gentle with yourself. The records reveal what you're ready to see, when you're ready to see it. Trust the timing. In my early sessions, I would say my question out loud, then hit a singing bowl or count to 3. Those were my first tools. Now, I no longer need them. I simply ask, and the first thing that comes to me, that's the answer. And if you feel you need more detail or clarity, you just keep asking. Eventually, a full story can unfold. Let me give you an example. I once asked, what did I look like in a lifetime as a Lyrian? The first image that came to me was a black leopard. Immediately after, I saw myself moving up a mountain through an open forest. From there, I asked more. What planet was this? Was I alone? Did I have a family there? What was my purpose? And so on. You'll see that your own curiosity will naturally bring more questions. But it's also important to know what not to ask. Avoid questions like, when will I meet my soulmate? Or when will I get a new job? Or when will I become a millionaire? Even though the Akashic Records can show potential futures, those futures depend on your choices, your frequency, and your alignment. If you get a specific answer, it might shift your timeline, either because you expect it and create pressure, or because your awareness of it causes your path to change. The truth is, every moment, every choice, opens a new path. As for tools, I still use a pendulum sometimes, for confirmations or for chart readings. You can make your own pendulum charts or download ones online. I've also made a video about how to use a pendulum if you're interested in learning more. The Akashic Records are a sacred space of remembering, so come in with curiosity, with an open heart, and with the intention to connect with your soul's wisdom. My final thoughts. The Akashic Records aren't just something we visit, they're part of who we are. Each of us carries a piece of that divine intelligence, and the more we trust ourselves, the more clearly that wisdom flows. This isn't about being special or spiritual in a certain way. It's about building a deeper relationship with your soul, through truth, love, and presence. You don't have to get it perfect. Every quiet moment of intention opens the door a little more. Let it be a journey. Let it be sacred. The records will always meet you where you are, and they'll grow with you as you grow. If you feel the call to explore your connection, trust it. Your soul already knows the way. The records aren't for prediction or control. They're a mirror for healing, understanding, and aligning with your highest path. And the more respect and humility you bring, the more clearly they'll speak. Thank you for being here with me. If this message resonated, I'd love to hear from you. Have you tried accessing your records? What insights came through? Feel free to share your journey in the comments. Your experience might be the light someone else is looking for.